Sandy.
Here.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Tripe. Burns.
Here. All right, Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, moving on, item 4, we have approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 5, we have consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second?
Motion and a second for the consent calendar. Notice to the public, all matters listed are considered routine by the board and will be enacted by the one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items unless good cause is shown prior to the time the board votes on the motion to be adopted by roll call. Lisa?
Miller. Sandy.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Tripe. Burns.
Yes. Motion passes. We have no presentations on the agenda, so 7, unfinished business. 7A is the Lions Park Master Plan update.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we met at Lions Park last week or a few weeks ago regarding that design, and the Lions Club was there to talk about their ideas and their grant writing proposals. Councilman Yeager was there also to gather that information. And Max, could you pull that up on the screen there? Thank you. And so this was his rendering and a great design. The only correction that I would like to add to this is that the pickleball courts be associated north and south. I think they're right now, I'm losing that orientation, but I just want to make sure that they are orientated north and south for, just for, visibility and playability. You always want to have your courts north and south, so one person isn't looking into the sunset. Any other thoughts,
I
questions?
had one question regarding that. With this park, would that be as much of an issue as it is in Memorial, given the tree cover and things?
It wouldn't, but it could be easily just twist, they're almost square.
Right.
So I think it would be, just to be safe for future reference, just to have them orientated properly.
I agree. No, I think this all corresponds with the general discussion that we had at the workshop, and so I'm
I liked how it was white out.
supportive of the layout.
Yep. Yeah. I think it looks good.
Mike, are you looking for a motion to approve this new master plan today, or?
Yes, just so that we could move forward and get a engineer estimate on the totals for the pickleball courts and all the other improvements that we've listed there, just so that we could move forward with a grant. That would be ideal.
Okay.
You can make
I
a
like-
motion. Oh,
I like the idea of just changing the pickleball courts is my only comment.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve the plan, but moving those pickleball courts so that they're north and south.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second approving the master plan for Lions Park. Do we have any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to the next item, we have 8A, which is approval for decisions of tree placement in parks.
Thank you, Mr. President. And here we have, I'm not really even quite sure of the proper proposal or the sequence of proposals, but one thing that I'd like to recommend, because the park board does have some opinion on the placements, that we submit like a yearly plan for all of our trees, where they're going to be placed, so we can give you a general review of where we're going and how many trees we're going to be planting. We plant about 100 between 100 to 200 trees every year, and they're just placed all over, the town. When we remove a tree, our general idea is to replace it in the boulevards and whatnot. So we have a lot. I've copied you all on that plan where we're going to be taking that Kiwanis and North Brainerd. So we are going to be placing quite a few trees here this year. We're also going to be, the DNR has granted us a grant to plant 20 brand new trees. So that's on top of this master plan. And we'll be planting those. We're going to be staking them this week so I can send you guys out where they're going to be planted, our overall plan, and we can look at that also. So this is just a review to indicate, just to streamline it, we would be submitting master plan ideas of where our tree placements are going to be going throughout the year. And we do that in the spring. And with the park input, we can rearrange those and then get a final plan. So just open up for discussion at that point.
Do we have any questions for staff? Kara?
Just a comment really, but I feel like James has been really good about like kind of knowing what we like, or like just working with us the last couple of years, so
Right.
he'll be involved too, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, he's
Yeah.
the main individual
one.
that places the
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah.
So he is really the lead on that. And like at the Triangle Park, I know Andrew indicated a few, adjustments to that, and he was good with that. So we're okay with input, and it just with species, he's concerned that we don't get, too close with some species. Obviously, 10 feet away from a sidewalk is ideal. Sometimes in the boulevard, that's not possible. But then we get a right tree species that's going to be in that boulevard. That's not going to tear up the sidewalks too. So it's all by design.
I really like this plan. I think it goes to the city wanting to diversify its tree population, and then having the park board review it for park-related trees would, I think, be a great idea, just to get our input before the quotes go out.
I like the yearly planning. Mike?
Should it be more specific to parks? Our boulevard, are we good with, in that boulevard section that we just rely on James and my input?
I think that's probably the way we should go, is anything in the boulevards. There's a lot of guidance out there as far as trees planting in boulevards is concerned.
Right.
And I would lean more on staff in that scenario, because there's other things in play when you're in boulevards, like infrastructure and curbs and trees, where in a park open space, we have a little more we have an easier time moving things around.
So this would be specific to the placement of trees in public parks?
We can see the ones in the boulevards just as an FYI. It's not precluding it if it's all part of one plan, but
Right.
I don't think we
Yeah.
are going to have any place in saying you should plant a tree on this boulevard and not this one.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. So public parks, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any further discussion or questions for staff on that? Okay. Moving on to item 8B, 2026 budget.
Thank you, Mr. President. And so we had a one workshop, it was about, JD, a month or so ago. We were talking about that, and as it's getting closer, I just want to bring this to the park board's attention. Max, can you pull that one document up? And in the items that are listed there, the Buffalo Hills Memorial and the ADA is what we discussed. But I also just want to bring to the park board attention, in the first table below, that 433,000, that is what we would typically request to the city council and then it's stretched out throughout, the number of years. I met with Connie, and she indicated for 26, that is the number that is allocated for park board improvements for planning. So the above list was, just scroll up a tad, Max, there, that above list. That would total the $433,000 of whatever improvement. We do have some rollover, like the Buffalo Hills, the playground is rolling over from 25, and the ADA funds. We haven't used our allocated 25,000 that we typically get every year for ADA. I'm sort of suggesting that maybe it's an idea, just an idea, that we move that to 26 for Buffalo Hills. And we use, now we'd have 50,000. If we get our allocated 25 every year, we would have 50,000 to help with that design of now Lions Park. Sorry, I should have renamed that. Actually, it's technically Lions Park at Buffalo Hills. And so that's just an idea for us to do. And so just an overall recommendation in the agenda item is that we could call for another budget workshop and have that in mid-July, and then we finalize that for the July meeting, and then we bring that board, or JD, you would bring that to the city council in August for final approval. So that's sort of the sequence of what one option is.
Paul?
So the first table underneath the table underneath the first table. So we have that 433,000 in the green box, is that correct?
Right. Yep,
So we have to identify specific projects to use that funding for?
correct.
And so we'd probably have to jump back into the capital plan that was put together. And then the thought being is that these two projects, the ADA and the Buffalo Hills Playground, we would push off to hopefully line up with the Lions Club overall project.
Correct.
I think that makes a ton of sense, and then that loosens up the funds for us to identify specific park improvements based on our
Yes.
capital plan. No, I like the idea of having a workshop. I think we get the most done in that type of scenario rather than sitting up here and trying to dive into it. So I'm all for that plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also support that. as well.
Mid-July workshop?
Yes, that'd be good. And just FYI, the Memorial one, that one is budgeted in 28. That playground is just, we should move that up.
That's the one that has had some repairs done already, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we'll also, I think everyone was copied on that email regarding the playground service at Gregory Park. I would want to have one park a year done on that, just to bring them all up to speed so that they're all similar and in compliance.
I think we're in consensus for a mid-July workshop.
Is that just gonna be an email then? Mike?
Sure, yep, with a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to 8C, approval to enter into an agreement with the City of Brainerd and Woonfest staff to conduct concerts at Mills Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. The mayor reached out to me saying, hey, there's a organizer, there's two individuals that would like to organize a concert at Mills Field. I met with them. They're very well organized. They're strong individuals. There was something in the works of last year. It didn't pan out, but they are ready to go and move forward with a date in September. And we just need to get permission to enter into a contract. Lisa's already drafted a proposal that we would work with them. Overall, what the first year with any type of big concert, they will typically lose money. So the city would typically, we would give them something in return for organizing this, whether it be some campground sites at Lum Park that they could sell as a package with their tickets and a campground site at Lum Park. That individual, when they would purchase that from that organizer, they would contact us, contact Lisa, and leave a deposit for their campsite, confirm that, hey, it's a 20-foot campsite, it's a 30-foot, whatever those details are. but we would give them something. In return, because Millfield, as you probably know, needs a lot of improvement, that they would always be contributing to the city of Brainerd $20,000, whatever that's just a number that I'm using as an example. So they would help us bring Mills Field up to par so that we would do that. Now, next year, in the sequence years, maybe they would only do $5,000 or $15,000. Then at the campground, we would start charging them a little bit more. So essentially, we would always be receiving $20,000. The third year, it would be down to $10,000 at improvements at Mills Field. And we would start charging them a little bit more at the campground and even a little bit more at Mills Field, so that it is always that $20,000 mark. The fourth year, now it's $5,000 that they contribute for improvements, and now we start charging a little bit more over here. So you can sort of see that give and take, that equilibrium of that, and that is a good partnership when you start looking at having a concert at this size where they need a little bit support, but then they help us get Mills Field up to par so that we can have a grade A facility in hosting these concerts. So that's just a general idea of what we are thinking as staff moving forward, but we definitely want input and suggestions from the board.
My first question would be, how much money do we need to improve Mills Field? I don't have the budget. Like, do you guys know?
I would, if this was going to be moving forward, we're going to be getting a bid for that concession stand. The concession stand, it only has like a 5-gallon hot water tank. So we want to just get a brand new one and maybe bump up to a 25-gallon or so forth. Just those type of improvements. We also need to do another gate. So we would get that semi with a stage in there, and they would bring in the semi. We don't want them to do a U-turn in the outfield. They're going to rip up the field. So we want gates to be installed. That would be their contribution with that $20,000. Now we do nice gates. Now that's done. And we would have some improvements to do for inside the concession stands, get that up to par. Won't be perfect by any means, but at least it would be decent to host a first-year concert. But every year, by design, we get more improvements on that facility to host a nice concert. And the organizers are really good. They're forward thinking in the sense, okay, Mike, what about these individuals' homes in the background? We're by, what is that lake? Rice Lake. So he was like, hey, what if I went around and I gave them some tickets so that it's going to be a little noisy. Again, we'd look at that ordinance about the sound ordinance, and we won't push that too much. But anyway, it was just nice on their part that they're already forward thinking that, hey, we want to be good neighbors, and it was really a good gesture on their part. Whatever they finally decide, that's really not the point. It's just that they're already forward thinking on they want to be good neighbors to them. Mm-hmm. So it was nice.
From our walkthrough that we did at Memorial, I think the big glaring things that stood out to me were like the condition of the decks and the railings and things. And the other one is, of course, the concession stand. And I don't recall, wish we had our capital plan guy here, but do you recall, Mike, if we had anything in our budget upcoming for Mills concession /
No. But when we were out there, Troy, our maintenance foreman, we looked at those, and he would just power wash them to get the slivers off and whatnot. And then, that could be part of their improvements, is that they would pay for individual to come in and stain them and so forth. But we could definitely.
Might be a good discussion for our capital or our budget workshop.
I did find in capital plan, it's not the most recent one, I don't have that one with me, but concession stands were in there. I believe to bring it fully up to code the way it is $600,000 slated for 2029. But that would also inquire further discussion of what do we want the concession stand's ability to be, and that could factor into
Our
the total
decision.
cost.
Right.
So right now, this is just the motion for us to work in a contract, working with our city attorney and so forth, and we can start outline those type of details, and I could just keep everyone informed through emails and so forth. Even at our workshop, we could talk more specifically too.
I like that idea. I think I'll make a motion to approve or direct staff to draft a contract with the city attorney and work with Loon Fest for concerts at Mills Field, and then presenting that agreement to the park board at a future date.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yes, I will second that, but I do
Okay.
have a question.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Yeah.
Kara?
Is it, is Loon Fest the ones, like, it looks like Brainerd Lakes area's newest rock music event? Is that them? Like, they
Yes.
just did Buck Cherry a few years ago? Okay. So will they be bringing in only rock music?
I'm
No.
not sure. They did indicate, we met out there with the fire marshal and our police chief. They needed, what they really need was the capacity. And so for certain bands, they want to make sure that they're going to make money, and they wanted that threshold. So we met out there, we got our capacity, our occupancy load. The fire marshal was good with it, and then I've sent it off to him. He's been very hush-hush about indicating that after I indicated, hey, we got our fire marshal's approval. He said, Mike, we're loaded, we signed agreements, so now we're just waiting on you guys to have an agreement. They just want exclusive rights so that all their work, just like even any business, their first few years is going to be huge, a lot of work to get this going. So they just want some exclusive rights, and rightly so. I totally support it.
Yeah, that was gonna be my second question, actually, was like, can we bring Hairball here then? But it sounds like no, I mean, we'd have to obviously pay for them, but like, they won't let any other bands in then?
It
You
would
guys are
have to
gonna-
be them as the organizer bringing
Okay.
it to the Mills Field. And it just sort of like Lakes Jam. They have an agreement with their organizer that if it's going to be any other bands coming, that they organize it. It's on underneath their umbrella, their organization would be bringing it to the city of Brainerd and so forth. So they would have exclusive rights. If we wanted something else, they would organize it and they would bring it to Mills Field. And
But-
we could indicate a 5-year, even a 2-3 year. It just would, the longer you can have it, the stronger we can indicate the dollar amount. And I was very forthright with them as we start, that threshold, as they progress on, we can also start asking for ticket sales, percentage of that, concession stands, percentage of that, just to help offset the improvements of our Mills Field, because that's a big item.
The exclusive would only be for Mills Field, though.
Correct. Not
Not the
Lyman
other
White,
parts,
or,
right.
because I was very forthright that would not be a part of that.
And sorry, one more thing.
Yes.
Just like making sure as, with the community ed stuff that we're working through, how it was kind of like sort of gray in
Right.
like, making sure that this is like,
Solid.
if they don't follow or whatever, you guys know how to do that, but
Right.
just making sure that
Yes.
that's like gonna be easy to get out if needed, which I'm sure we won't have to. It sounds like this is gonna
Right.
be really great, but
Right? No,
Just a point.
way to
Yeah.
have that statement, because we need that
yeah.
to protect us.
Yeah.
It's
And I
our
believe
asset.
The motion said to work with the city attorney on it.
Yeah, so that's helpful, yeah.
We have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are moving on to item 8D, Fall Softball League update with the YMCA.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, there's really no update. YMCA staff, they've been on vacation, or one of them has been on vacation. But when I did meet with them, they were very strong on having a program in the fall. And Lisa's been in contact with Emily, I believe it is. Jessica. And so we've been working with that, and I'm pretty confident that the Y is well ready for something in the fall. But we can just constantly have this on the agenda so that we can bring it up, and because I know it's important to the board.
I just have one question, probably more so for Kayla. If the YMCA does not come through with being able to fulfill this, how long would you need to put something together in-house if we were to go that route?
2, 3 weeks. I don't know. And you would start.
I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, so if we waited till July, we're fine.
Yeah.
I was more so worried about timeline of that.
What I can do also, Mr. President, is I can reach out to the Y and just email them, copy Lisa. I'm going to be on vacation starting tomorrow, but that way she could reply and indicate more specifics so that we'll be informed on their steps, that they've been moving forward and that they're well organized for this. So I know this is important to the board and it's also important to us. So we will do our due diligence and we'll maybe start even planning some backup plans too with us. There's community individuals. Kara, you sent us some of those individuals, so thank you. And we can reach out to some of them too to get everyone involved with this.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on, we will go to the public forum. Got to pull up my little speech. All right, public forum. This is time allocated for citizens to bring matters not on the agenda to the attention of the board. Time limits may be imposed if necessary. And I will open the public forum now at 4:33 p.m.
I don't know how this works. I've never been to a meeting here.
Come on up to the podium.
So I am here because I play MS2 softball.
Yeah, if you could just state your name first, please.
My name's Carl Bakla.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm the manager for VFW team on Tuesdays, and I just have a few issues. I've had conversations with Mike and Kayla, and there are just kind of some rules that are in questions, and I was told this was the place to bring them up. We've had multiple meetings last year with Haley, and the mayor was even there for a few of them, and he said some rules are going to be implemented, and nothing has changed. And we keep being told that things are going to change, and I'm hoping they do, but I just kind of want to see if there's a way we can get a guarantee that that's going to happen, because one of the big things that we have is we have guys who play Wednesdays that come into the Tuesday nights and just wipe the floor with us. And like I said, we've been told things are going to change, and I hope they do. But is there a way we can be sure? Because I was pretty... last year we were kind of told by Haley that this was going to happen, and we had multiple meetings, and like I said, nothing's changed. And I have 4 or 5 teams that are kind of with us on this. They show up, play Tuesday nights, and they don't even get to play full games. And for what we pay to play softball, we should be able to finish our games on Tuesday nights because we're not even getting the full time allotted. And yeah. Another thing is, I was slapped with a misconduct 2 weeks ago, or misconduct warning, because I argued a foul ball, and I spoke with the umpire, and he said he never issued me a warning, but I was informed by the Parks and Rec Department that I was issued a warning, and after speaking with him, he said he didn't even say the word warning. And then I was also informed by Parks and Rec that I was going to be kicked out, or that I was on the verge of being ejected. When I also spoke with the ump, he said he never mentioned that. So I'm just kind of curious, who has the ability to issue a misconduct warning? And I don't know if this is the place to bring that up, but I was told to come here and kind of air all this. So, yeah, and I know we have teams that have quit because no rules have changed, because they just get pounded into the ground.
What's that?
Can we ask him questions? Okay. I don't play softball, but why don't you get to play your whole time on Tuesdays and Wednesdays? You said you get.
There's
a
what is it, like 10 limit or 10 run rule. There's different rules for like how far you get into the innings.
Oh, like the
Sorry, I'm not a
scoring.
public speaker, so I'm a little nervous right now. But there's
Okay.
there's different rules where if you're ahead by so many runs by a certain inning, you don't get to finish your game.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes
And
sense.
we went into the 4th week and we played a team that's pretty new. And the guy came up to me, the manager at the end, and he's like, "We appreciate you letting us play a full game. We haven't played a full game in 4 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks because 1 week was canceled."
So you're asking us to do what, to fix that, so that, the teams are more evenly, like,
We would just like a rule. We're being told that there's rules implemented, like that you can only have certain ranked players. But that doesn't help in our league because nobody's ranked. And I don't know, Kayla, maybe you know different. But when I tried to pull it up, I think I found 2 people. I found Corey Negebauer and Brady Anderson. And we would just like there to be a limit on guys that play on Wednesday nights to play on Tuesday nights. And you
Wednesday
can't.
night is they're stronger players than Tuesday
Yes.
night? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And like I said, we've been told over and over again that rules are going to change. I went to like 4 meetings last year. I skipped the manager meeting this year because it didn't seem like it was doing any good, and I just had a practice with my guys instead. But it just doesn't seem like anything's changing, and we are losing teams. We have teams that we forfeited a game because our game was made a joke because that's what they do to us. They come out and just make a joke out of us. It's just not fun.
Did you have something, Paul? I didn't know if your hand went up. Okay. All right. Well, we will take these notes and see what we can do. And then I'm not going to promise anything just because I can't speak for the other 4 members on the board. But I have played softball for years, so I understand some of your frustrations. So that's kind of my stance on it right now. I've been there and I get frustrations and I don't know what the right answer is, but we'll do our best to come up with what we can do.
All right. And then I guess a question for that misconduct, is that something I talked with Mike about and Kayla, I guess? Or because I don't understand that whole thing, how I got hit with the misconduct, but the ump said he didn't even say anything about it. So like, I'm curious, where does that come from? Because I feel like some of the stuff that we talk about in the office of Parks and Rec gets leaked to other teams. And now I feel like I have a target on my back because I'm the main person that's coming forward with all this. Like I talk to the other managers and I'm the only one that has the time to come in here. So I guess who would I talk to about that?
I'm assuming they don't have all the information with them since it wasn't on the agenda, but Mike, would you be able to gather information and find a way to reach out to Carl?
He has
Yes,
my
I have
info.
his contact, and we've spoken multiple times. We did bring the rule change idea to the board several months ago, and we had a game plan, moving forward. There's a couple things that we can do to resolve some of these things, and we can address all of these, and then we can discuss them again as our staff and present this and answer all these questions, and we can email the board, and then after a review, or JD, if you indicate, yep, sounds good, I can then meet with Carl again, and then we can move forward in that manner.
Yeah, and could you also find the information that he's referring to about the misconduct warning?
Yes, I can, yep. We have, because we are aware of some individuals not being such sportsmanlike, we've indicated to our umps, hey, no one, as they approach that line of being, unsportsmanlike, to stop the game and to issue a warning. And our umps are all in favor with that. They've indicated, hey, this person may be on the verge of being ejected, and we have noted those. And so our umps are the individuals that issue an ejection. We do not. We don't get involved with that. When the ump when he calls game, that field is his, and we follow their direction and lead all the way through. They have indicated to us some unsportsmanlike conduct involving several teams, one being VFW. But that's not here or there, but it's just something that we rely heavily on with our umps. We don't get in the middle of them.
Yeah, I was there last week and I saw many acts of it, and I'm not going to call out any specific team, but it was league-wide, and I'm glad that the email went out from Kayla about that. So, but yeah, if you could maybe, as he's asking, just find out what that misconduct was, so he's aware of what that action was, and then know how to move forward from that.
Well,
I think that would help you.
I spoke with the ump. He said he didn't issue a misconduct warning.
That's why I'm asking him to find out the information and get it to you.
Okay. Because, yeah, I had already talked with Mike, and he told me to go talk to the ump, so I did. And he's like, I don't know why they slapped you with it. I didn't give you one. And he's like, he said, honestly, I think they hear it from gossip. Because there was a whole nother issue where apparently I said something sitting at a bench. And I had brought up an issue to Mike in the past because one of the teams that we forfeited against was kind of causing an issue. And he said, well, I can't monitor everything on the field. But yet I got a talking to last week because somebody heard me say something on a bench. Like, how does that even like equate? Because I don't understand how I can get slapped with saying something that somebody allegedly heard. But when I file a complaint about a team harassing my team, there's nothing. I just don't understand how they can pick and choose who they punish or give warnings to for certain things.
I will schedule a meeting for myself and Mike to sit down and review it in further.
All right.
I guess, Mr. Chair, if I may, I would just like to, maybe once all this information is collected, if we could have an item on the next park board meeting, maybe just an educational lesson for the board members that are not as familiar with rules and things
Yeah.
regarding misconduct. And I know that rule was brought up earlier in the season, and maybe an update on that too would be helpful for the board on implementation. I don't know if we ever made a decision on that or if it was.
Yes, we did. We just indicated that we would, because what we decided on is with we can do a multiple of things, and at the end of the season, we could, if the whole league is, if we have some individuals at 100, 500, is, if you have a 500 season, you're right in the middle, right? You have just as many wins as you do losses. If you have a couple teams that are in the 100 range, then you could split up your playoffs at the end. You could you can make two different brackets, and that makes it a little bit more fair. But if teams are in the 400, range, now it's doable. It's still, you can have one tournament for that. So there's a couple things that will play into factor when we would talk about that, but we would also, we can discuss that at that time too.
Okay. And then me and Michael work to schedule a meeting. I wasn't on the board last year during those meetings, so it'll kind of get me more up to speed as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Do we have any other community members, public members for the public forum? Seeing none, I will close the public forum at 4:44 p.m. We will move on to staff reports, 10A.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to outline, we've already done this, but just to reiterate, the July, having a formal, approval of our budget. We've indicated in the earlier sessions that we'll have a workshop, and that in the July meeting, we'll have to formally approve the budget so that, JD, you can bring forward to the city council our ideas, request for that. So I just wanted to outline the next few meetings. Is there anything else that the board would want in the next few meetings? Any overall? I was also going to be, looking at our pricing, like with our pricing schedule, we don't charge community ed, Y, BBBA on anything like that. I would like to review that and discuss that for 26. If we could apply some national standards, we would really see a significant shift in how, and what we bring in as far as a dollar amount. So that's something that I would like to, the board to direct me to dive into. So first is just the budget for July, and then anything else that you'd like me to work on.
I think a few meetings ago, I think we talked about the agreements with, you kind of got to it a little bit already, but the agreements with community ed, the Y, and having those reviewed. And I thought the discussion was kind of this time of year, so that when the winter comes,
Right.
when January 1st comes, we've had all the discussion about what we need to with the existing agreement and what changes we want to implement for the next one, so that I think the last, at least even back to my time, I think those agreements were coming on the agenda in like May, June, and this feels like we're behind. And so I think getting a jump start on that would be a good conversation for the board to
Yes.
have.
I will be curious about concessions. I mean, I know that'll probably be like October, but
Right.
but if you're talking next meeting, yeah, if you have ways for the parks to, yes, make a little bit more cash or whatever you're saying, that would be interesting to read or to go over.
Right, and the concession is one, last year we lost $20,000 in our concessions. And just the amount of work that has been on our staff, just to even, let's say we make $5,000. That's a lot of work. And we could easily add another program in there to offset our concessions. I'm sure we could talk to different community groups if they had wanted to take that on. We would have to get the license and we would charge them whatever whatever the license requirement is to get that license, we would charge them for that. And we'd have that right to say, hey, every time that you open up that concession, we get X number of dollars. And because that's our facility, that's our amenity, and we would charge them the license plus X number of dollars, to be in our house, if you will.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of years ago. And I don't-
Outsourcing concessions has always been a,
Yeah, that's always been something, because we know
Discussion
we
point.
lose money and staffing is hard. And so, yeah, if we could offer another program in place of that, I mean, yes, I think we would all love to hear some ideas for that.
You guys ready to report next meeting?
Or, August is fine too, but,
Yeah, I
Right,
think
yeah,
maybe
towards
end
the
of
end of summer.
season.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, end of season, so we kind of like can see dollars. I know it takes, that's why I was like October, but it would be nice to see something before the end of the year so we could like plan for next
Yes.
year.
What's that?
I think outsourcing concessions is a fantastic idea.
Always wanted to support, I've always supported that, if we can
I'm
make
sure
it
you
work.
guys would appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know the nightmare, believe me.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, moving on to 10B, June staff reports. Or
So
did you
I'm-
do that all in one?
I'm currently working on pickleball leagues. There's 8 teams on Tuesdays, 9 teams on Thursdays. Softball league Monday through Thursdays, and concessions at 3 locations, so Memorial, Bain, and JC's. And now Bain and JC's is completed since the BBA tournaments are done. So now it'll just be Memorial for the rest of the summer and into the fall as well. I'm also working on fall leagues coming up soon for getting registration started. And end of summer softball tournament, I'll be looking into adding that soon. And if you want to move on to the next one. Oh. I think I think we had maintenance.
That's all right, it's in the packet, so we're good. All right, Gail, are you ready for 10C, the fishing clinic?
Yes, so Mike already covered that last time and went over how that went. So I just wanted to post the summary of the fishing clinic and how that went, so you guys can view that. And
Okay,
then the next one is the movies in the park. So that's coming up really soon, July 5th at 9 p.m. at Lyman P. White Park. And this is partnered with Community Action. The show is The Goonies. So there's popcorn for purchase. You can bring your own chair and blanket for the movie. And that is at the amphitheater. Then the next one is the grand opening at Lum Park. So that's Sunday, July 13th at 4 o'clock. So the Ski Loons performance is at 5, and food will be served by the Ski Loons starting at 4 p.m. And then our sponsors are Jacob's Voice, Smiles for Jake, and the Ski Loons. Then for the next one, I've posted the Adult Fall Kickball League. That's at Memorial Park. So registration is now open. Games are played Monday evenings, and we're hoping to start around August 25th, as long as we don't keep getting rain days. And then it'll go until end of October. So hopefully we can have some nice weather for that. And the deadline to register a team is August 8th.
Let's hope for no more rain.
Really hope so. And that's everything that I have.
Okay, thank you, Kayla.
Yep.
Moving on to item 11, board member reports, starting with Paul.
I just want to give staff a kudos on the roundabouts. They look absolutely fantastic. I saw the guys out there one day. I was emailing Mike about the one at 4th Street by the Civic Center, and it looks fantastic now. So I like driving through a well-maintained, manicured roundabout. So thanks to staff.
Anything else? Okay. For me, Kayla, great job on the email to softball. I would just stress to the softball league, if any of them are watching, to please do your best and follow the instructions in that email. And then if we could get, for our public's sake, if we could get the public forum moved up to right after the consent calendar on the agenda, I think that would be a nice service to the public, so they don't have to sit through all of it if they choose not to. While I encourage them to partake in everything, some of them don't want to. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
I just wanted to follow up on the JC Park thing. I thought it might be on the agenda, but do we need to move that to the agenda? Do we need to discuss that more as far as parking, or is that just gonna be like we wait till next year to tackle that, or?
That will be on our capital plan in our workshop.
Okay,
What we
so
want to do
workshop.
with that, yes.
Okay, got it.
I have 2 different designs. I met with the city engineer, and we have a couple different designs. I met with council person that is heavily involved with that also. So yeah, we've already looked at a couple designs, and I'll bring forth those ideas at the workshop.
Great. Okay. Thank you, that's all.
All right. Moving on, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Meeting's adjourned.